We are Team 2, and today we're going to present Nordstrom financial analysis. To make this as clear as possible, we follow the following structure. After the industry analysis, we are going to have several recommendations for the company, but first, Serena is going to talk about the company itself.
So Nordstrom. Nordstrom is a leading fashion industry retailer founded in 1907. Company offers a massive horizontal integration product line. With the advantage of it having a large number of the retail stores, Nordstrom's revenue performance is typically strong and has a very good reputation among customers. Brand has a good return on capital expenditure. Currently, Nordstrom has been mainly focusing on local market only. Their presence in other countries has relatively low. With the advantage of their disposable income of their target customer is increasing, we think it's a great opportunity for them to start expand to the overseas international market. Compared to the industry average, the profitability ratio and net contribution percentage of Nordstrom is low. Operation can be affected by strong competitor and unknown economic scenario. Brand are also trying to be more visible to the customers through advertising, and they're trying to create a customer-focused service. So go to quarter 5 forces for the industry overview. Nordstrom is operating in a highly competitive market with major competitors such as Macy's, Stellar, and Sixth Avenue, who also owns the majority of the market shares. The industry has been facing a long-term downward trend over the past few years. Customer behavior has been affected by the rise of IoT. People are tend to shopping online. Their main demand for retail store has changed. The threat of new entries is low since the major player in the market already own the majority of the market share, so it makes the new entries hard to get in. The competition among the major players is very strong, which leads to a price control that lower the bargaining power of the buyers. The number of suppliers in the industry is a lot compared to the buyers. This means that supplier has less control over the price. It makes that the bargaining power of supplier a weak force. Lastly, the threat of substitute is high. As the marketing trends in the industry is changing, customers start paying attention to individual designer and change of shopping behavior. This is also an opportunity for Nordstrom to develop more service on that. And we'll pass to the market trend.
Alright, so market trend 1. So we defined 2 market trends, and the first one is the rise of subscription e-commerce. And this allows buyers to have like an online personal styling service that is tailored to their needs and also then delivered to their doors. Businesses that curate products and ship them to their customers is like some of the companies that do it is like Stitch Fix, and what they do based on like curation is get like a survey online to see what the customer likes so they can ship them those products. And we but we noticed that there's a growing trend in the subscription e-commerce, which according to McKinsey & Company's report, creation services make up around 55% of all subscriptions. And this kind of goes hand in hand with customers' search for experiences, because with that, they're more willing to spend money on services that give them like a tangible benefit and personalized offerings, which kind of leads to our second market trend, which is the rise of experiential retail. And in this trend, customers are kind of leaning away towards just strictly shopping for products and more towards shopping for like the experience. And you can kind of see this because it's heavily driven to millennials. And because of that, it's because of their preferences. You can see this through Nike when they do like pop-up shops to use like an actual shoebox to do that. So that's why retailers have been moving to more of a product to customer-centric, because this allows them to be more customer-engaged and also create an immersive and shareable experience for their customers.
Sweet, now we're gonna jump into the numbers a little bit. Although Macy's has had higher revenue over time, the last 5-8 years, we'll look into those numbers a bit deeper, starting with DuPont. So we can see it's relatively steady, but Nordstrom has been more efficient than Macy's at using its assets, as we can see, although marginal. Taking the next step in DuPont, we can look at ROE. Now you can see that general uptick in the return on equity. So that tells you that Nordstrom is actually very good at generating shareholder value, increasingly so. But the question now is, if the profitability, if the ROA is so marginally changing, what makes ROE go up so high? So let's take a look under the hood and see what that could be.
So talking a bit about the financial leverage, in this case about the asset to equity, which is also known as the equity multiplier, which determines whether a company uses equity or debt to purchase their assets. So the numbers reveal that Nordstrom is using a higher number of debt to purchase and finance assets than Macy does. This is not necessarily a bad thing, but however, it has to be checked how well Nordstrom is servicing its debt. And the second financial leverage we will look at is the liability to equity measure. The optimal liability to equity ratio is said to be around 1. Nordstrom is highly leveraged and poses therefore a greater risk to shareholders and loan givers. High debt means a greater risk for the company and to not being able to repay their obligations on time. And finally, we're going to look into the debt ratio, which is the liability to asset. Here you can see that Macy's has a lower liability to asset ratio. The company can cover its liabilities 3 times, whereas Nordstrom has a weaker position and can barely cover its liabilities with its assets. Their solvency therefore is lower than the one of Macy's, and hence it's a higher risk of going in debt.
But wait, we have some more numbers. So we can see the productivity ratios. There's an incredible jump in the AR turnover, which shows that Nordstrom is incredibly effective at managing the credit it gives to its customers, who in themselves are likely to be pretty creditworthy. Jumping ahead to the inventory turnover, we see some stability, perhaps because Nordstrom has been such a long-standing company with their practices set for a long time, that this inventory turnover has stayed roughly the same. They sell or replace all inventory roughly about 8 times a year, as you can see as of 2019. And I think because of that long-term structure, their payables turnover, probably long with relationships with suppliers, has stayed relatively consistent, which is why there's not much change in how many times a year they actually deliver on these payables to their suppliers. Before we look at the exact days it takes and look at the inverse of those, we'll jump into 2 important liquidity ratios. The first one is the current ratio. So as we can see that Nordstrom has maintained sufficient capital on hand to pay off all its short-term debts, but not a lot of this capital has been its most liquid assets. That's not the biggest cause of concern, since they are above Macy's, which we're using as the industry yardstick. So now we'll jump into the inverse of the previous ratios we're talking about. So you can see again an incredible change inverse the accounts receivable turnover. Nordstrom collects on its receivables every 7 days. Pretty crazy, right? And then with the inventory, again, long-standing, so they turn their inventory from start to sales in about 72 days in every given period. And finally, with the payables, sorry, don't know what happened there. Yeah, we're just going to do the slide. Sorry about that. So we can see with the days payable outstanding that it is a little bit slower than Macy's, but this is not a cause for concern simply because, like we said, Nordstrom has been around for so long that this is probably relationships they've had for that long. So it's not something that's really a big risk factor for us.
All right, next up we're going to talk about is the stock price analysis. As you can see, we gathered information as of the date and the time mentioned on the slide. There are 32 analysts following the stock on a daily basis, and the trailing price earnings is 12.09, and that helps investors determine market value compared to the company earnings. The following slide, this shows the stock value over the past year. As you can see, there's a significantly decrease since 3 months ago. One reason for that can be that the revenue is going down, so investors are more hesitant to invest in it. And after the future prediction is pretty good, that's why the stock can go up a little bit.
So based on the earnings per share that the analysts showed, we calculated based on the average low and high levels and the forward P ratio of 10.8 26.87. We have a lower stock price for next year of 26.85, an average stock price of 36.74, and a high stock price of 43.48. So based on all the previous analysis and stock analysis, we have the recommendation of holding. This is mainly because the stock is not underperforming nor overperforming. So if people doesn't own a stock, or people that own the stock need to hold to see when the future is more clear. This is also because the next quarter report is going out on the 26th, so it's going to allow them to see like the whole year, fiscal year on the scope. And finally, we see that Nordstrom is a company that's embracing customer changing behaviors and also investing in different initiatives for store expansion and customer-based strategies, which can show there's going to be a future growth, or at least they're targeting that. So after the company overview, industry overview, financial analysis, stock price evaluation, we hope we give you enough information for our recommendation. Thank you.
You did some interesting work on the DuPont, showing that that the big change was in leverage, and it seemed scary, right? So it even got your attention. And then you did some work showing the different measures of leverage, like liability to asset and just liability to equity ratio. But one thing you did not show is times interest earned. Because if debt rises too high, then their ability to repay interest would get strained. Would you look? I don't know if you remember, but did you look at times interest earned and see if that was getting to trouble?
We did take a look at it. We didn't put in the. I can't remember the exact numbers right now, but it wasn't the biggest cause of concern for us. The conclusion we drew was they seem to be doing a lot more investing. The construction expenses have gone up. The inventory fluctuations have been quite a bit. And looking into some news and media research, it seems that it could be due to their intention to expand to Canada and other countries. So looking at those numbers, we weren't too worried about the times interest earned figures and their increasing debt ratios.
So they're investing, trying to get sales back up again?
Yeah, trying to expand the brand as well, build more outlets.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Thank you.